Hey class, we are ready to start cutting, laying out and cutting our pony walls. So here's what you and your partner are gonna need. We are gonna need 4 8-foot 2x4s, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you guys from here will start laying out, marking, and cutting your pieces. A few things. One is all your boards should be pretty decent, but every once in a while we run into a board that's got a pretty good crookedness to it. So if you run into one of these boards that is just really crooked, think about all the pieces you need to cut. And know that one long crooked board can be cut into smaller sections, and it'll kind of take that crookedness out of it. It'll at least be minimized. So this board I'm saving for my blocking and for my angle braces, so I can take a lot of that bend out of it as we go. Now what you're gonna need today is you need your tape measure, you need your pencil, you need your handsaw, a speed square, although your handsaw also works as a 90-degree if you need it, which is all we'll need today, and a couple of clamps, and we're gonna show you guys how these work. So let's get started. I have my first board here, and I'm ready to start laying things out. Now, one thing that I'm gonna recommend that you guys do is start with your longest pieces first. What this will do is if you miscut and you go too short, we can always turn those into the next size down. But if we start by cutting all our short pieces, and then we cut our long piece short in the end, then we gotta grab a new board, which we may not have. So we're gonna take our tape measure, and 47 inches is what we want for our first mark. So I'm gonna make that mark right there. And then here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hook the other side, and I'm gonna mark out 47 from this side as well. This is a nice efficient tip that I would like you guys to do, because now when it comes to clamping the board down, I'm only going to have to clamp this board down once, and I'll be able to make 2 cuts. If I only mark one at a time and clamp it, I'm probably going to have to reclamp it a little later. So I got my 2 marks on the board here, and now I'm ready to start making my first cut. Now that we have the lines marked, we're ready to clamp the board down and start our cuts. So here's what's gonna happen is we want the board off of the edge of the table, but it's gonna work its way up. Now, you could keep pressure down with one hand as you cut, but your board might move back and forth with the saw, and that's not what we're looking for. So we have 2 really good clamps in here that will work. One is we kind of have a bar clamp here, and what we'll do is we'll put a little weight on here, and as we move this lever in, this will slide down, and then from here we can start tightening this up to clamp this down. And there we have it. There's one. What you might find though is one clamp can still create a little bit of a pivot, so a second clamp can be used. Now, of course, you can use 2 of these, or you can use 2 of these. These are called hand screw clamps, and how they work is as you work in one direction, the jaws of this clamp will stay parallel and it'll start moving together. And as you work in the opposite direction, it'll do just the same. They'll stay parallel, but they're gonna move out. So what we wanna do is try to get this so it goes just over our surface, kind of like so. What you'll always want is the back handle pointing up. This way, as the clamp tightens, it'll tighten both jaws evenly. If you have the front one, it's only gonna really work on the front, and it's not gonna have the same holding power. So we'll put this guy down, and we can start tightening this up. And now our board is not going to move. This will be something you'll get really used to this year, clamping things down and unclamping them to your work surface. Now we're ready to start making cuts. Here I have both of my marks for my 47 inches. So I got 47 inches right up to this line and 47 inches coming from the other way up to this line. The side of the line that you guys cut is important. if I cut on this side of the line, I'm gonna be short of my 47 inches by the width of the saw blade. And if I cut on this side of the line over here, I'm also gonna be short. So what we like to do is put a couple of X's on the waist side of the piece. So I know that up to measuring from this side over, I get 47 inches. I'm gonna cut on this side of the line. Same thing over here. I measured this way, I'm gonna cut on this side of the line. Now, when we're using power tools, we'll only need to make a mark right here on the front. But when we're working with a hand saw, it's pretty common that we can get off of our line. We'll be on this one, but we can kind of do a diagonal cut. So what we like to do is mark out on the very end as well where you're gonna look, and that way we can try our best to stay straight as we go. So we're gonna get our saw blade right on our line where we wanna be, and we're just gonna pull back to try to make a little groove here. Like so. And then, once we have a channel for our saw, we can just start working back and forth, nice and easy, watching our line as we go. Now, I want to show you this. As you're working alone, this is going to get pretty wobbly back here, and as you go, the wood fibers are going to start to give. So, as you get to this point, if you have a partner or even a stool you can put under this, that may be helpful. I'm going to show you what happens if we don't do that. Okay? So what we're left with is the weight of the board was too much for what was left. Now, you can fix this a couple ways. One, you can have someone kind of hold that end until you're done cutting. Or two, as you get to the end, you can really speed up your rate to try and kind of race it as we go. Now, even though this isn't ideal, and we'd probably just pick this part out, and we'd have a little bit of corner missing, for your project, this will be okay. Structurally, this board is just fine. So we can put that one aside, and now we'd be ready to cut our second piece. And as you can see, we're only gonna have a little bit of waste. So we can cut this one as well, making our nice mark. And there you go, and you can see I was pretty good on this one, straight both ways. And with this piece, this isn't gonna happen because this type of weight hanging off the end isn't a real big deal. So it's only when you have the really long boards that you're gonna want a little support on the end. Just remember, when you guys have finished working for the day, it's your responsibility to get all your tools put away and to clean up the floor and table where you have been working.